I'd also like to thank our gracious sponsors, Bristol County Savings Bank, Build Rhode Island, and Verizon. These events would be possible without your continued support. It is my pleasure to introduce our past board member, John Silva, Executive Vice President and Chief Lending Officer of Bristol County Savings Bank. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Day after the Super Bowl. It's great to see everybody bright and early here. On behalf of Bristol County Savings Bank, I want to thank the Governor McKee and all of you for participation in today's breakfast. The bank appreciates Northern Rhode Island Chamber's dedication to supporting businesses, and Bristol County Savings Bank is excited to continue our partnership with the Chamber as we expand our commitment to Rhode Island's business community. Since the bank's founding in 1846, we have focused on making a positive impact in the communities we serve, and that same philosophy still guides us today, 176 years later. Today, the bank's about $3.1 billion in assets. We have 16 full-service branches throughout southeastern Massachusetts, and here in Northern Rhode Island, we have 3 branches. We started out in Pawtucket in 2001, and in 2020, we acquired the branches from Freedom Bank in Greenville and in Cumberland. Well, also today, we are very excited to announce we're going to be opening an office in Providence this fall. It's going to be a new state-of-the-art office, underscoring our commitment to being a strong supporter of the Rhode Island business community. As a local bank, we know that small business is vital to the health of our communities, and like the Chamber, we're here to help companies grow and succeed. We work collaboratively with organizations like the Chamber, the SBA, business, school, and government agencies in Northern Rhode Island to meet the growing needs of the population and to support the local economy. But one such partnership I want to bring out is we've been proud to be involved from the beginning in the state's Bank Local program. The program is designed to improve our small business access to capital and to spur economic and job creation in the state, and we continue to be active in this successful initiative. In these partnerships, we support communities in which we serve through the Bristol County Savings Bank Charitable Foundation. The Charitable Foundation was established in 1996, and it's donated over $28 million to hundreds of not-for-profits, and every year we donate more and more. This year we're going to donate about $2.5 million to the local communities. Thank you again to the Chamber for hosting what is sure to be an informative breakfast. The bank is excited to be part of it and to continue all we can to make a difference in the Northern Rhode Island community. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, John. I'd like to welcome our second sponsor, Chamber member and dear friend, Greg Mancini, the Executive Director of Build Rhode. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Liz. Last year we were sponsored breakfast, which Senate President Ruggiero spoke, and I guess we're back again, being kicked out. I'm happy to hear that. Governor, elected officials, at last year's breakfast, I told you a little bit about our organization called Build Rhode Island. We are a local trade organization that promotes the interests of the unit construction industry and really our local economy generally. We're unique in that our board is half management. Our chairman is the owner of H-Car & Company, and they're one of the largest commercial contractors in New England. The other half of our board is labor, and our vice chair is Michael Sabatoni, and he's the president of the 17 construction unions that comprise Rhode Island building trades. Through our unique structure, we've built a bond of trust with one another, and that has allowed us to work collaboratively for the good of the industry, but also for the good of the state of Rhode Island. You may not know it, but we have built many businesses, schools, and we even built America's first offshore wind farm. In fact, our members just completed yet another expansion of Twin River. Congratulations, Craig and Company, under an all-union project labor agreement. We're completing the Tidewater project under an all-union project labor agreement. We completed East Providence High School under an all-union project labor agreement. And we're scheduled to complete many more, along with any additional offshore wind expansion in our state. It is a win-win for all involved. Owners get a successful project, our contractors get business opportunities they can profit from, and our hardworking members earn a solid middle-class wage. We're also involved in the community. Next Monday marks the 20th anniversary of the station fire. And it's the union contractors and the union members, along with community members, community partners, that built a memorial that honors the victims and the survivors of that awful day. So when we heard the Governor McKee was here coming, we would jump at the opportunity to come before you and speak, and to hear also about the Governor's business initiatives, his proposed budget, that will move the state of Rhode Island forward. Because we want to work with the Governor and the business community to grow our economy and improve the lives of the citizens of Rhode Island. We look forward not only to working with the Governor, but the General Assembly and the members in this room to improve our state. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much, Greg. It is my pleasure to welcome our corporate partner and friend, Michelle Cinquagrano, Regional Director in Government Affairs at Verizon. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Liz. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you this morning, and thank you, Governor McKee, for taking time to meet with the business community today. Verizon continues to invest in our networks here, both wireline and wireless, by placing more fiber with our union workforce, and increasing capacity and speeds while expanding coverage in Rhode Island and across the country. In fact, over the past 3 years, we have invested more than $360 million in Rhode Island alone. We also offer 5G ultra-wideband service in Providence and surrounding areas, with plans to do more throughout the state this year. We have over 700 employees that work here, 1,500 retirees that call Verizon home, and operate over 200 buildings, which includes some of our retail stores as well. We also contribute to charitable organizations and partnerships. Just a few, Providence Public Library's Technology Careers Pathway Program, which provides youth aged 14 to 24, English language learners, those soon to be released from corrections, and diverse adults throughout Rhode Island with free comprehensive education and workforce development training. Another one that was important to us last year was Rhode Island Startup Week, a celebration of entrepreneurship and organizations who are shaping our future of Rhode Island. Startup Week gathered entrepreneurs and those considering entrepreneurship for a week of learning and celebration. The core theme of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ensuring that entrepreneurship is open to all citizens of Rhode Island, was a focal point of the week. We also continue to look for new and innovative ways to reach more customers and continue to focus on ways to bridge the digital divide to ensure Rhode Islanders have access to affordable broadband connectivity. We participate in the Federal Affordability Connectivity Program that offers FiOS and wireless customers who qualify for a $30 a month discount to apply to their service. In addition, Verizon acquired TracFone and offers eligible customers zero cost for prepaid wireless service. Our ultimate goal is to foster an environment where we can continue to invest in broadband networks and to offer innovative and cost-effective services that will improve the quality of lives of Rhode Islanders while lifting and strengthening our communities. We know that 2023 is off to a fast start, and the next several months we're looking forward to the collaboration between the business community and the governor's office, as well as the legislature. Thank you again for being able to share some highlights of what we're doing in Rhode Island, and thank you again, Governor McKee, for spending the morning with us.
Much, Michelle. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our governor. Governor McKee is a lifelong Rhode Islander who proudly serves as the Ocean State's 76th governor. Dan graduated from Cumberland High School, where he played basketball and met his wife Susan, who just had a birthday, right? Happy birthday to Susan. He holds a bachelor's degree in political science and education from Assumption College. He earned a master's degree in public administration from Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. He has owned and operated successful small businesses in the Blackstone Valley for 3 decades. He began his political career on the town council in his hometown of Cumberland. After serving for 8 years, he was elected mayor. Following 12 years as mayor of Cumberland, he left office in 2014, where he was elected lieutenant governor. He ascended to the governor's office in 2021. As governor, he continues to focus on the same issues he has cared about his whole career: accessible government, effective fiscal management, a high-quality public education for all students, equity and justice, and economic development centered on small businesses. We're honored to have you here today. And I noticed, Governor, you missed one thing in your bio. You also have a new title, Grandpa. So welcome.
Yeah, there was a campaign last summer, but I got one up by my mom, on the ads. I got one up by my daughter, Kara, for The Voice, and now I'm getting one up by my son and his wife Laura with welcoming Mabel James to our world a couple of weeks ago, and actually they visited our house last night for the first time, so we're getting into the grandparent role very, very quickly, as many in this room have, and then also this week being at the National Governors Association meeting, which is really important to be networking in a way that we're able to help the state of Rhode Island. I got one up again by my wife Susan on her birthday. They had Brad Paisley that sang to a group that about the size in the White House, a country singer. And after having dinner with the President and the First Lady, with governors around the country, with the cabinet members, which we were able to, Secretary Raimondo was there with Andy, and we were able to really have a face-to-face with Pete Buttigieg, Secretary Buttigieg, that's going to really help us out in the state on a number of the infrastructure issues, and South Key is a particular project that we're going to get off the ground in East Providence. And then we were serenaded by the governor's, the president's Marine band. They were doing America the Beautiful and everything else. The music was filling up the chambers of the White House. And then we went in and listened to the concert. And at the end of the half hour, 45 minutes, the president got up to the stage and told Brad Paisley, we got one more thing to do. And so they invited my wife Susan up the stage with the President of the United States and the First Lady to sing Happy Birthday, along with my friend who's the now Governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, who was a Lieutenant Governor when I chaired the National Lieutenant Governors Association. So yes, I have been, certainly I have had my share of challenges, but I didn't mind, quite frankly, in some of the discussions that were going on in the election process to have that positive energy coming from our family. But thank you so much for having me here today. I think that what we're going to talk about, which is the business community and the efforts to initially just really thinking very, very deliberately about leveling the playing field between our state and Massachusetts and Connecticut on business issues. And I get to do budgets now. And when I was a mayor in Cumberland, I saw Kelly Maris back there, was a planner at one time and now solicitor in Cumberland. We made sure that when we did budgets, we budgeted for break even and manages for surplus. And we're doing the same thing right now in the state of Rhode Island. We're budgeting for break even, making sure that we're really responsible the way that we put our efforts forward in terms of the different types of things we're going to invest in, and then manage for surplus. We love surpluses. Anybody who doesn't like surpluses, if you're in business, I think you like surpluses. You'd rather be on that side of the fence than the other side of the fence, right? We want to be on the black side, not the red side. So, but that's allowed us in 2 budget cycles now that I've managed to really bring in some surpluses. And taking advantage of some of the momentum that is here, not because of me or our administration as much as what's happening, federally with dollars coming into the state, but are we smart about how we spend those dollars? And I think that we are really being very intelligent with the Speaker and the Senate President, meeting with them on a regular basis to be investing in the state of Rhode Island in a way that is going to pay dividends down the line for Mabel, James, and others that are going to be living in our state, years from now. So I was asked to come specifically to talk a little bit about this budget that we put in place that is under consideration right now. And I would encourage everybody in this room to talk to the legislators about passing the budget that we presented. It's balanced, I can manage it, and we're gonna get great results with it. So I'm able to put together a budget, and we put a budget article in every year since I've been in office, very small. The first year I had 11 days to do a $12, $13 billion budget. I had like 11 days, but we did put a little something in there for the businesses so that just to signal what was coming. I put in just a simple thing that you didn't have to pay the $10 on the sales tax, license fee. That was the signal that I wanted everybody to know, that we were going to continue to work in the direction to make sure that we're competitive and to help our business community so that they can do well, so that they can hire in those JOBSs that we keep on talking about, Mike, the JOBSs, good paying jobs. That's what's going to keep our economy going. So what I was able to do on our second year was to put in, again, a larger effort, which sounds simple, but I encourage you to share with us. We're about 8 months away from putting the next budget together. So if what's in the budget today is this thing's missing, you think we got another shot at it in eight months now to start preparing the budget. But we put in there the fact that on motorcycle sales in the state of Rhode Island, we did not deduct the value of the trade-in value from the sales tax calculation. Massachusetts and Connecticut did. Last year, we passed legislation, so effective October 1st, if you happen to be a motorcycle person and you trade in on a new purchase, that trade-in value now is taken off the calculation of your sales tax. We believe that if you keep on doing those things, that you are going to create a stronger economy in the state of Rhode Island. And we believe in that instance, there'll be more motorcycle sales and the motorcycle shops and people who sell all the different paraphernalia that goes with a motorcycle, those sales are going to increase. That's just a small example about what we did last year in a series of efforts to level the playing field between Massachusetts and Connecticut. This year, we're doing more. My administration is the first administration that I can recall, and I'll test your memories, to actually propose reducing the sales tax. This is a big deal. There are some that say that it's not enough, but where were those individuals when budgets were coming out and there was actually proposals to increase the sales tax? Last year we made the proposal to lower it 0.5 point. That didn't get the appetite of the General Assembly at the time. This year we just took an incremental strategy to move that sales tax down below or equal to Massachusetts and Connecticut as a first step, and then meet the promise that was made in the early 1990s when we bumped up the sales tax from 6 to 7% and told everybody that was listening that that was going to get pushed back down to 6% after the banking crisis of borrowing was paid off. Anybody who was listening was told that. And that's probably why we're not listened to very often in many ways, because when we say something and then we don't do it, that's a problem. So I would encourage you again, call your reps and senators. Moving it down incrementally, doing it in a way where we're able to, we know we can manage it. We can manage that budget, that it can be balanced, and we can manage a budget for surpluses going forward. That's a really important thing for us to start signaling in, that Rhode Island no longer has to be this state that's the first in and out of economic downturns. It doesn't have to happen. So there's other things that we have in the budget that I think are equally as important, but I don't think there's anything more important than that sales tax. As small, as incremental as it is, it sends a message that we're going to keep our promises. Last year's budget on the surplus, we had delayed payments to our state pension, $63 million. That was a promise that was made back in the 90s again, when we were having all these economic issues. It was not paid back. Last year, we asked the General Assembly to take that $63 million and finally pay off that commitment that we had. Many people are not going to know that, but those people who are impacted by the pension do. And that we keep on working in a way that we keep our promises that we made. And we should be careful about promises that we make. Be slow to make the promise. But once you do, and you make that commitment, you make sure that it happens. We're also talking about a gas tax. I had an interesting meeting in DC. I was not just listening to people sing happy birthday to my wife, Susan, with the New England governors. And I was talking to them about this issue about the gas tax. So as we move more and more towards electric vehicles, and we are, and it's a fact, by 2035, I don't think any vehicles are going to be actually manufactured in the country that are not electric vehicles. What does that do to our gas tax? If you have the majority of your vehicles on the road that are not consuming gas, and for every penny in our gas tax, it brings $4 million in to improve our infrastructure, what are we going to do? So I'm not inclined to increase the gas tax. Right now, by state law, by statute, by certain CPI issues and other factors, we're in line to raise our gas tax by 3 cents. And we become less competitive with our bordering states, in particular Massachusetts. So that's another issue. What we put in the budget, using our surplus, was to delay any increase in the gas tax for 2 full years. That's about $25 million of tax relief that's going to come to the state of Rhode Island on top of the $35 million of tax relief on the sales tax. By the way, 50% of that sales tax, as we decline it, will go right into the pockets of the business community. It's another business-friendly initiative. So I'd ask you to kind of really take a look at that. Why would we want to raise the gas tax in an environment when, one, there's going to be less gas sold? We should be looking at ways to make sure that everybody who's using the roads is going to help improve the roads, right? So we have to really take a look at that. And I've asked the governors from New England to take a look at a regional strategy to address that very issue that not only we'll have, but they will have as well. Continually sliding down the scale of things to make us competitive, and I was with Luke McGowan. Luke McGowan was working with a company called Thumbtack, and if anybody remembers when I was Lieutenant Governor and I brought Thumbtack to the state of Rhode Island, because they were continually giving our small businesses an F on business friendliness. And I called them up when I was running for Lieutenant Governor and I said, if I get there, would you come to Rhode Island and tell us why we're getting Fs? So I did. I made that phone call about 6 weeks after I got sworn in as Lieutenant Governor. I said, I got there to be a Lieutenant Governor. Would you come out and tell us why we're getting Fs with the small business community in terms of your rankings? And they did. And a young man named Luke McGowan came out and helped us run multiple sessions. One of those issues was the corporate minimum tax that was driving people crazy. That was like $500 at the time. Now, coincidentally, Luke McGowan, who was working for Thumbtack, he wanted to go to the Kennedy School. He asked me to give him a recommendation at that time, about 6 years ago, is working in the White House today as a chief of staff for Mr. Sterling, who actually manages all of the federal funds that have been appropriated after the, over the last few years. That's a personal friend in the White House. You never know who you're talking to. You never know where these young people are gonna end up, and that's why we're gonna invest in the young people. But anyways, our proposal is to lower that again, come from 400 to 375, continually bring it down to a level where we're competitive with our bordering states. We're getting closer and closer to that. So support that. It's incremental, but it's important that we do it in a way that's responsible. We're also eliminating something that came up when we met with all the small businesses about what do you think that we could do to send a message that we're going to be small business friendly? What was a litter tax? So it's about 4,000 businesses in the state that pay a litter tax, and it ranges anywhere from $150 and then incrementally up based on the gross revenues. We're asking the General Assembly to eliminate that, eliminate the litter tax. We're collecting almost $1 million a year on a litter tax, and we didn't even use it to get rid of litter. How smart is that? Right, so we're saying get rid of the litter tax. But I also put in a line item in the budget to actually specifically talk about having a litter-free Rhode Island. My wife Susan's doing litter and literacy, teaching. So litter and literacy. And, but that's gonna be great. Go to litterfree.ri.gov. It's a nationally recognized website that we just received the national award from Keep America Beautiful. And that's something that I did, during the time frame that we were in a very heated campaign, but we were planting seeds, anticipating that we would get the support from the voters in the state of Rhode Island, and that we would have this opportunity, like we've never seen before, to keep these things going over the next 4 years. So finally, and one of the things we know, utilities is a big cost to us, right? And so we're requesting that the General Assembly provide 4% relief during the winter months on what is called the receipt tax on our electric and gas bills. That's another $35 million in relief that we're asking the General Assembly to do. And I was with a business the other day, and this doesn't matter from big business, small business, or from your home. I was with a business the other day that racks up about a $50,000 a month electric bill. 4% over 4 months, it's $8,000 of money that business will have in their pocket to conduct their business affairs. In a household, it might be $100, $200. But that's $35 million more tax relief. Are you following the bouncing ball here? $35 million on sales tax, $25 million on gas tax, and then another $35 million on electric relief. In addition to that, our workman's comp was scheduled to go up this year. And what we put in was $4 million in the budget so that our workman's comp did not increase. Now, I could have said, well, let it increase. But I know that workman's comp is a cost that our businesses have, and that in many ways, we need to be more competitive in that area. But just like the gas tax, why would you increase the gas tax? Why would you increase workman's comp rates? So I was able to, in the budget, to make sure that we were able to offset that increase. In addition to that, we've got money in the budget, $2.6 million for small business assistance programs. And I do get to chair the Commerce Board, as the people of Pawtucket know. And we are putting a focus on the Commerce Corporation. I see Anli over there. Maybe doing some work with me down the line, hopefully. We're putting good people on our Commerce Board. Liz is one of them. If you know people who would like to serve on the Commerce Board or other boards in the state, you should let me know, especially if you're interested in supporting the business community, which I am. So we put in $2.6 million for small business assistance programs. Another $5 million for energy efficiency investments for the small businesses. I could keep on going on, but I know that you all gotta get to work. this budget proposal is really good for Rhode Island. And I'd ask you to talk to your General Assembly members. What we're doing in the state of Rhode Island right now, and I said it in my inauguration, look, this is our time. This is our moment to shine. It's our turn. It's our turn to roll back these issues that have continually got in the way of a good economy. And we're seeing the results of that. We're seeing large surpluses, may not be able to repeat them as we go along if there's some sort of recession. I said that in my State of the State address, if there is some sort of an economic downturn, or if there isn't. We're going to be ready either way. And I want you to have that confidence, and I hope that you do feel the same way. 39 cities and towns, each and every one's important. I see my buddy here, Charlie Lombardi, Joe Alman, who was here before Phil was in Lincoln. I know our reps and senators are in the room. I think Rep. Newberry is here. I saw Rep. Shulcrest here as well. Together, we're going to figure it out. Together, we're going to tackle those issues that are important, whether it's housing, whether it's energy, whether it's education. And I hope you have me back to talk about what we're going to do in education. Please have me back. Within the first 100 days, I promised that we would have a plan that would allow us to achieve outcomes in our schools that are equal to or better than Massachusetts on or before 2030. And we're going to need your help to do that. So Liz, have me back on that one, and I'll spend 15 minutes talking about that. Now is not the time, but I do want to tell you that we will achieve that. And I'm working with people like Joe Alman, who's already done it, worked on issues on education, and our office is really focused on that. I'll end it with this. The 3 things that we're working on in the state of Rhode Island right now are very easy to understand. Each and every one of this room knows about it. 1, raise academic outcomes in our schools. 2, raise incomes in our families. And 3, make sure that we're all as healthy as we can be so we can enjoy living in this great state of Rhode Island. Thank you so much for having me.
Or 2 from our members. Does anybody have
Make
a question?
sure they're easy.
Yeah, I have a question for the governor. This is usually not a shy crowd, so.
Well, we're good. Enjoy it and keep on moving ahead.
Governor, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning. We're so appreciative. I want to make sure I thank our sponsors once again, John Silva and his team, Michelle and her team, the Build Rhode Island team, Greg Mancini, dear friend Mike Sabatoni. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. I hope you'll join us for our next event, which is actually at Bally's, our annual celebration, which is coming up February 28th. So we hope to see you there. And Governor, we couldn't resist. We just wanted to make sure, you are the #1 grandpa. So we're gonna have to make sure before this crowd.
Nice. Well,